Maybe We're Projecting, Omaha's movie talk show. I'm Genevieve and Joshua, and with me today is...
Tom Noblock.
And Joshua LeBure.
Well, guys, it's been a while since we've been in the studio.
Yes.
Yeah. And we have a lot of movies to talk about today, but we also have a lot of TV shows to talk about today. Tim Robinson is starring in The Chair Company on HBO Max, and I know that we've all been watching, I believe, yes?
Yes.
So what do we think so far?
Tim Robinson, well, he's kind of this, for most people, I think he's an acquired taste. He's brash, he's known for screaming, and he's got just kind of this absurdism that people might know from Detroiters or The Chair Company, or what was the show before that?
I Think You Should
Leave, or Friendship, which we talked about earlier. Yeah. And so, I think some people, there's a little bit of adjusting to, like, what is his deal? Mm-hmm. How crazy is he supposed to be? Is always kind of the center of all of his shows. I think The Chair Company is maybe his most accessible, though. Mm. And it feels appropriate in 2025 as we live in a world of absurd conspiracies that lead to conspiracies, and the ability to talk to people is more and more sort of hidden in these layers of shell companies and different representatives and digital mediums. And so it feels very of the moment, and also like a synthesis of things that he's been trying to do in his various shows and movies up to this point. Mm-hmm. And what I had written about it, my Substack, was it also feels very Thomas Pynchonian, because it's kind of like the same skeleton as one of Pynchon's first novels, The Crying of Lot 49, where this woman becomes obsessed with this potential conspiracy that she starts to see everywhere just through this very mundane start. So I'm really enjoying it.
That's awesome.
I'll say I started with that acquired taste. I can speak to that because I remember everybody telling me you have to watch I Think You Should Leave, hearing it over and over and over again. Yeah. And especially because I was a fan of like Nathan For You, and if I brought that up, or if I brought up The Rehearsal, or How To with John Wilson, any of these kind of absurd comedies that I liked, people would be like, oh, you have to watch I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah.
And then I watched a couple episodes and I was like, dude's just yelling. And so I kept seeing his clips on Instagram, and I was like, it's just a guy that yells. It's funny because it's surprising, I guess. But then for some reason, I think talking to Patrick, he said that I should try the Detroiters. And I finally gave the Detroiters a chance and watched it all the way through. And then I think I got it. And then I went back and watched I Think You Should Leave, loved it, saw Friendship, loved it. And now with The Chair Company, I think is like almost kind of his, I don't want to say masterpiece, but but it feels like a culmination of all the things he's been doing, and it feels really realized because it feels right. I think the tone is just, I don't know. It's somewhere in the middle of his yelling and how really intelligent the comedy is, you know.
His escalation of his character to yelling fits really well in a conspiracy thriller.
Yes.
Right. And it feels like kind of a mashup of two movies to me, which is The Big Sleep, which is kind of famous for having threads that go nowhere and answers that go unanswered, and John Landis, The Stupids. And just this, Mr. Stanley Stupid, who thinks that someone's taking the garbage away on garbage day, and where is it going? And it's kind of a similar plot thread where a chair breaks with Tim Robinson's character, and suddenly he assumes that the Chair Company is up to no good and that there's this global conspiracy. And so I really enjoy it on those levels. But you know what's interesting is that none of his TV shows really stick with me unless I see it like 5 million times in a meme or something. Then it sticks. But otherwise, it almost feels like something I'm living in, if that makes sense. It's very comfortable to me. Like I could just have it playing constantly, and I feel like it's a really good comfort watch, but it doesn't quite land. I'm not sitting there laughing uproariously. I just kind of live in it, and I don't know, do you think that's an appropriate reaction to these
I think
shows?
So.
Well, yeah, kind of what I was saying about 2025. I think he captures this unraveling of normalcy and like what should we be expecting out of talking to people about our norms in society, about being in a company, having a job, your roles with other people, because they're always kind of the same trajectory of like somebody who doesn't quite know where the boundaries are, and can't ever find them, and then it just escalates.
And I think what's really interesting about The Chair Company is that everyone seems to be living in that universe with him, because there's a lot of characters who do bizarre things and really break those social contracts, and no one really says anything. It's like, oh, there's that guy, he's throwing that party that is really an HR
mistake party.
Yeah, waiting to happen.
Mistakes party, yeah.
And everyone just kind of talks around it. And I feel like maybe this is the first time where everyone's kind of in on the joke and everyone's kind of doing what he does, just to a
It's an indoor wheelbarrow.
Yeah. Don't tell them I took my wheelbarrow outside. Just, everyone's got their own eccentricities going on.
It's true. I think what's interesting about it too is I just rewatched the HBO series about the QAnon, about Q Into the Storm. And I feel like this is really capturing that trajectory. It's really capturing kind of the real life absurdities that are taking over people's lives in a lot of situations, and because I had just read a book about it too, just like specifically about, and this was less about QAnon as a conspiracy, but more about how it has destroyed so many relationships. And it was like focusing specifically on the relationships with parents and their kids, or people who have lost their jobs because they've become obsessed with this conspiracy. And a lot of this show is reminding me of that in a very serious way, but in a way that's funny.
Well, Pynchon's been doing that for decades.
Yeah.
Where, this sort of idea that there are like you unravel one conspiracy and then find a bigger conspiracy. Every direction you go, there's more nefarious stuff happening, and it's also really stupid. Is the thing that Pynchon was doing way before everyone else. Like it used to be that sort of like, oh, you'd uncover the grand conspiracy, you'd find the guy in charge, and then you'd be able to take it down. But it's just kind of like incomprehensibly dumb and evil at the same time in Pynchon's works. And I think that we are finally at the point culturally, and Paul Thomas Anderson also arrives at this point, where we can acknowledge it's like Evil Airplane, more so than whatever whatever 70s conspiracy theory movie you want to put in there, the Parallax Group.
It's kind of like how, and I think this is a psychological thing, where we see human faces and things where they aren't there. Like our brains are just wired to look for that. And I think it's kind of the same with conspiracy, where we're just kind of rewiring our brains to look for, there's got to be deeper meanings to this, which is also David Cronenberg's The Shrouds. Like this is just popping up again and again in 2025.
But we're right. There are conspiracies everywhere.
But I think that's what you're getting at too, is like, there were so many really dumb conspiracies with Nixon, right? But society took all those people very seriously. So, Pynchon is saying, no, these people are not serious people. They just project that in our society, makes them seem serious, but the conspiracies are really dumb.
And it doesn't make it not scary,
exactly,
or evil or bad.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that what this one does is it's very much a product of 2025, like you said. It's updating it because we all know that everything is dumb now, and we're
after
aware.
4 seasons total landscaping. Maybe that was the turning point where we can say like, okay, it's funny and it's bad, and it's the dumbest thing of all time.
Right.
Exactly. And it's so obvious.
Right.
And so none of it is like, all the bad stuff is like right there for us to see.
Yeah, you don't have to dig very deep at all. It's right in the headlines.
Yeah.
And you probably can't do anything about it, right? I assume Tim Robinson is not at some point going to like face the bad guy and take down the conspiracy.
Right.
Maybe he will. I don't know. But I mean, the Pynchonian thing would just be you never quite can do anything about it because it's all out of your hands. And the more you unravel it, the more you're sort of unraveling your relationships and your job and everything about yourself. And you have to decide,
really just making everything worse for yourself and not solving anything.
Right. You're not going to save this stupid world.
Oh my gosh, but there's hope for us stupids, isn't there?
No. We all know where it ends.
Right. Well, according to Diane Keaton, maybe heaven. I know you and I watched the documentary from 1987, directed by Diane Keaton, and where she, in all these very surreal production designs by Barbara Ling, who won an Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I just wanted to throw that out there. But she's interviewing all these people about heaven and, is heaven real? Do you think you're going to heaven? And one thing that comes up over and over again, which is, are you afraid to die? Which kind of hit me after we lost Diane Keaton. But what an interesting documentary. Did you have any initial reactions to it, or?
I didn't know what to expect going into this. I didn't know Diane Keaton made a documentary. I didn't know she ever directed anything. And then when I first started this, what really struck me was just its visual style. It's very inspired by German expressionism. It's very much like it looks like a Fritz Lang movie at parts, and there's this
And she
crazy
incorporates like Fritz Lang clips
exactly
and all these German
yeah
expressionists and some Hollywood too, but all black and white.
yeah. So it's very very stylistic. And at first I was like, wow, this is like not what I was expecting at all when I heard a documentary about heaven. Because it's one of the most absurdly edited, crazy documentaries I've ever seen in my entire life. It's very much an experimental film.
Yeah, and the
It,
interviewees, it's like she took them off Hollywood Boulevard. Like,
yeah,
hey, how do you think about heaven? Like,
exactly. But I would say like somebody compared it to Guy Madden, and I think that's the
mm,
closest kind of comparison I can make in this film because it's a documentary, sure, but it's really an experimental film.
hmm
The interviews are quickly cut. There's like these crazy injections of scenes from films and, like you said, Fritz Lang films
yeah.
and all this stuff. It was really fascinating,
hmm
sometimes obnoxious. But I think overall it was an interesting insight into Diane Keaton as an artist who I only really know through her characters, you know.
Right,
I never really watched any interviews with her. I don't know much about her life.
right.
And so I feel like seeing this film gave me a little bit of insight into who she is as an artist beyond just acting.
I think it made me like her more because I've
Yeah.
always known her as kind of like this kooky, quirky old lady, you know, and she could be my mom, that type of thing. But watching this, I was like, Diane Keaton, I have underestimated you. You are a certified weirdo, one of us. Like I
I had
felt
no idea.
I had no idea. I felt such a kinship. And stylistically, just, you know, comparing it to things that I'm already familiar with, is it kind of felt like an Alamo Drafthouse pre-show almost, just in the
Yeah.
quirkiness, kind of an America Genre Archive mixtape, Museum of Home Video kind of found footage. And I couldn't help but think how relatively easy that would be to make today. But back then, can you just imagine someone's going through literal film, finding all these clips and relevant, like there's a montage of eyes. And I'm like, someone is out there with huge canisters of film finding these moments of eyes. And I was just kind of amazed to think of how much work went into that, where today you would do YouTube to MP4 and just download it, you know,
Yeah,
pretty
or
easy.
like now you'd have like a team of like archivists keying like, you
hmm
know, in the metadata like eyes. Okay, I need a bunch of shots of eyes. You know, go give me shots of eyes, or you know,
Right.
which is pretty fascinating. And thinking about making this like wild film just in 1987, yeah, it was a feat of editing for sure.
hmm
And I think I liked it. It's kind of how I feel about Guy Madden films. Genuinely, I'm like, that was an experience that I wouldn't have anywhere else.
Yeah.
Do I like it? I don't know. I'm intrigued by it,
Yeah,
and everybody
definitely.
should watch it.
I'm noticing a theme with myself is that I found it very soothing. Again, I found it soothing. All this weird stuff, it just tickles my brain in just the right way that I'm like, this is very relaxing. So I did fall asleep, but I would go back. I'd go back and watch it. But it was very soothing to me and also bizarre and beautiful. And yeah, I that's something I wish I had made, you know, watching that. That's how I felt.
I think that's fascinating that you found it relaxing
Yeah.
because I was like felt so crazy
Oh, well,
during it.
I think I just figured
But
out
I
how
think
my
I've
brain
broken my
works.
brain because
Yeah.
I've been watching in pieces this like 8
Mhm.
hour documentary about these factories in China in the early 90s.
Right.
Um,
You've been watching
and
slow cinema this year a lot.
yeah, so I think I've broken my brain a little bit. But it was kind of interesting to see this and to think about how effective it was, and
Yeah.
because there's such like a interesting dichotomy between people who don't believe in heaven, people who just casually just know they don't know where their idea of it comes from. You know, they're just
Mhm.
like, yeah, heaven exists. What is heaven? And there's this one guy who's just like, and he keeps starting a sentence and he just never. They keep going back to him and he's still trying to figure it out. Like, well, heaven. It's so heaven. I don't know.
That was really fun to read in the subtitles because
Yeah.
it was just
And then finally, I think he's the only person they go back to like a lot.
Yeah.
And he finally just like, maybe it's a spoiler, but I just love when he's just like, I don't know.
I don't know. I
But
love
then there's like these, you know,
very
there's
pompous
religious extremists,
Mm-hmm.
you know, these like who are telling you exactly what it is and that you're going to go to hell and blah blah blah. And then there's like these like atheists who strictly don't believe in it. And I think it was pretty fascinating to kind of get all of that in one space and talk directly about it, which seems interesting that we don't talk about it more now.
Right, because if you believe in it, it sounds like a pretty big deal.
Well, the president's been talking about it.
Well, oh no. I'm not gonna go there, but one part that I liked the best that I thought really showed Diane's playfulness versus some of the interviewees' lack of playfulness was when she was asking, "Do you guys think there's sex in heaven?" And
yeah,
one
that was
man
a great
goes,
segment.
"You ask me that question because you're ignorant."
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And I was kind of surprised. Well, not surprised that she kept it in, but you know, with so many people who were just like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's nice, that'd be good, I would like that. And then you are so ignorant. Like, oh my goodness.
One of my favorites was the couple that's like so clearly like newlyweds, and he's just like, yeah, of course there is. Heaven's an orgasm.
Heaven is an orgasm. I loved that.
That was so funny.
They were adorable. But yeah, I would recommend it. It's on Tubi, and it will be coming to theaters, so you can see it. I think with an audience, that would be a ton of fun. So if it comes to Omaha, definitely seek out Heaven, Diane Keaton.
So I don't know the chronology. Is there a direct line between her directing this and then directing an episode of Twin Peaks?
You know, I think this came before Twin Peaks, so it's certainly possible.
Do we think that that was what got her a job on Twin Peaks?
That'd be interesting.
It would make sense. I mean, it was not very liked at the time from what I saw, but I think there's a reappraisal going on right now because it's so out there. And it is, you know, it's kind of like a surreal David Lynch film.
Oh man, I was waiting for the right moment to say that. You beat me to it.
But it is a surreal documentary. I mean, honestly, like if anybody, have you seen any Guy Madden films?
I haven't. That's on my bucket list.
Have you seen?
Yeah. Talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, you've had him on the show.
BFFs.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think that, you know, it's like in the realm of My Winnipeg or something like that, where it's kind of a experimental essay documentary.
Well, if that's what a Guy Madden film is like, I should just go live in that
You would
filmography
love
for a
it.
while.
If
Yeah.
you love this film, you'll love a Guy
Like a
Madden.
surreal Diane Keaton film.
It's like a surreal.
Gosh
It's like if Diane
darn
Keaton
it.
directed a documentary but made it surreal.
Ooh, that's gonna make me cry from laughter. Did either of you see Bugonia, the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie?
I didn't because again, I'm grumpy and Yorgos. I don't think it's an insult to say he is a talented guy who likes to use his talents to be provocative.
Yes.
And the ways that he is provocative tend to not be that fun to me. And I don't think he's a bad filmmaker, but I sort of know what I'm getting. I've watched, I think, all of his movies up to Poor Things.
Okay.
And I'm just like, I don't need any
That
more.
was when you tapped out. You were like, I'm done. I'm good.
I probably could have tapped out earlier, but everybody loved Poor Things so much that I thought, all right, I'll give him a shot. And I don't know, it irritated me like all the others do.
I have an interesting relationship with Guy Madden, with Yorgos Lanthimos too, because I have not seen Bugonia yet, and I just have this thing where I'll watch one of his movies and then I'll initially think I like it, but as time goes on, I think back on it and I feel like I got manipulated in a way that was like not like I understand that filmmaking is manipulation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
But I always feel like after time goes by, like I always think of like, but what did I get out of that? Like what else was there besides like the surface level, like kind of message or idea?
Or provocation.
That's
Or
what
provocation.
That's my take is always
Yeah.
like he's really good at the provocation, and sometimes the provocation, I think, especially if he's working with other writers, encapsulates other ideas. But I don't know if he's all that invested in those ideas.
Yeah.
More so than the provocation.
Like I think about another provocative filmmaker like Lars von Trier or
Yeah.
somebody who, his films are very provocative. They make you uncomfortable.
Right. But you can tell he's working something out.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I know there's there. There's something there that I also recognize and can relate to.
Yeah.
As far as like dealing with depression or
Right.
the darker parts of being a human being. But I also think that it comes from a place of compassion. Whereas sometimes Lanthimos, I think, he just thinks it's funny, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know what is there.
It's like he's a very, very dark comedian.
Yes. And I thought about Von Trier in thinking about this as well, because I don't think at heart he actually is a provocateur.
That's just how he is.
I think on the press tour, he's bored or he hides behind it a little bit. And he thinks it's funny to provoke, but he's actually this very complicated artist when you actually look at the works beyond what he says next to Kirsten Dunst to the press conference.
Exactly.
And he sort of flirts with it, but Yorgos, I don't know. You seem, I feel like we're creating the negative case, and you've got a more positive take on it.
Well, I thought Bugonia was, I know it's a remake of a South Korean film, which I haven't seen, so I can't speak on that. But it's about Jesse Plemons, is this guy who lives in kind of a rundown house with his cousin who has a neurodevelopmental disability, I believe, and he's kind of. It's interesting because he has a really good relationship with his cousin, like very loving, very caring, but he's also roping him into this conspiracy theory that there are aliens on Earth and that they run Big Pharma. Well, and that's kind of scary because he takes it very, very seriously enough that he kidnaps Emma Stone, who is kind of a girl boss CEO, talks in corporate lingo, and he kidnaps her, convinced that she's an alien, and locks her in the basement, which on its surface just seems kind of nasty, but it's intriguing, it's thrilling, it's really funny, unfortunately. It's really funny, and I was just along for the ride, and I went into it right away. I was just like, well, she's an alien. But then there were moments where I was like, well, maybe she's not. No, she is. She's definitely maybe it's not. I don't. So I really enjoyed that, never really knowing where it was going, and just seeing the interpersonal relationships I thought were more fleshed out in this movie than they tend to be in other movies. Like Killing of Sacred Deer, everyone is just so emotionally shut down.
That's his Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, where everyone just talks like this and emotions are very not there. This felt a lot more human to me in a way. Like, we were talking about how he didn't really seem to have compassion. And I think maybe he does in this movie. I think it's still very provocative, but I think maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised.
So he's working with, is it Will Tracy who wrote the script?
You tell me, yeah.
I believe Will Tracy, one of the writers of The Menu.
Oh, I don't like The Menu.
Well, that's why I've seen some discourse. Somebody, I think it was maybe just a tweet, had said, I can tell that this was written by the writer of The Menu, in parentheses, derogatory.
Oh, no!
So, I don't know. I don't hate The Menu. I think, like, for what it is, it's a fun, dumb movie or whatever.
Right.
But that doesn't really seem like a Yorgos Lanthimos type of idea.
No.
So I was curious if the different voice that he's working with here maybe had any impact.
That's interesting because I don't like The Menu because I kind of have the same thing where I was like, that was fun, I enjoyed it, but I felt like the message was just as shallow as a kiddie pool, So interesting.
I think one of the things that gets me about the Lanthimos films, though, his most recent ones, is that even if like after time goes by, I haven't really related to them. I always I think Emma Stone is what makes me like them.
She's great.
Because she's amazing in those movies, and I think that they're what I like about it. Because I actually haven't finished Killing of the Sacred Deer, and
It's slow.
And The Lobster I didn't really love when it came out.
Killing of a Sacred Deer, I just wonder, am I just not Greek enough to get this? It's dealing with all the myths and the tragedy and things that I sort of know about, but I don't, it's not in my blood
Yeah.
the way it is for him.
But Poor Things, I came out just in awe of Emma Stone's performance. But overall, the movie, I was okay, it was a beautiful stylistic exercise. Emma Stone was incredible, but beyond that, I didn't get much else out of it. So I do kind of still want to see Bugonia, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Well, now I'm very curious. Now I just want to sit you guys down and be like, okay, watch this, and then tell me your reaction. Because yeah, I'm a Lanthimos fan, I would say, because my friend showed me Dogtooth like fresh out of high school. She was like, you should watch Dogtooth, and I watched it. And I was like, that was so cool.
I feel like that might be the time in life. Like there are some filmmakers where like you're just in that right emotional sort of space, and you don't have enough life experience probably to be as bothered by it as you do when you're older.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Is that as you get older, you're like, but maybe I don't want to be this upset all the time.
I'm sad that the dog got kicked until it died.
Right, right. Whereas with maybe a little more edgelordy in college, I don't know.
So you watch Kevin Smith when you're 13. You watch Lanthimos when you're 17 or whatever.
That's the trajectory.
Yep.
The film bro trajectory. Oh no.
Where's Donnie Darko?
And Donnie Darko's in there somewhere.
14.
16? Yeah, 14's good.
I saw Donnie Darko when I was 17, and it was my favorite movie. So
yeah.
Maybe I'm a late bloomer.
we should make like a timeline that can be a Substack post. Like.
Okay.
Can you reach that?
Yes, we have some.
The one on the Wendy and Lucy. Yeah.
Nice.
So we'll end here. But speaking of dogs and having compassion for them, I just wanted to suggest this movie. It just came out from Second Run. It's an older film, but Second Run DVD is one of my favorite Blu-ray labels, and they just released Wendy and Lucy. I've been wanting a new version of this for a while now. And if you haven't seen it, it's Kelly Reichardt, who is one of my favorite filmmakers, very much slow cinema, but she has such a specific style and tone. And this was the first movie of hers I saw, and it has lingered with me since it came out. And I think it came out years ago. I mean, I saw it maybe 14 years ago or something like that.
What's the right age to watch Kelly Reichardt movies?
The right age?
Yeah.
I mean,
26.
Yeah.
just whenever you feel like you can sit down and things can be quiet for a while. But it's a beautiful film. Watch it. Wendy and Lucy. Kelly Reichardt also has a new one coming out, The Mastermind. So keep that in mind.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Josh. I'm excited about that one. This has been Maybe We're Projecting. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Peace.